but I'll let you guys share your story.
Okay, you know what? I'll go first. Hi. My name is Emmalee, and I'm in grade 10. I'm going to be 16 in May. So, yeah, so I wasn't really expecting to be up here. Like, I'm going to be so for real. Like, if you looked at me last year, I would not be up here right now. But, you know, that just proves on, like, how good God is and how much he moves. And, you know what? I'm going to just start, okay? So, I'm not going to touch too much on the beginning of my testimony. If you want to see it, it's on YouTube. So I'm just going to kind of touch on where I kind of started from. So I was raised in, like, a Christian home, but I didn't really believe it too much. Like, I was kind of on the edge. Like, yeah, my mom, she was kind of, like, not pushing it on me, but pushing it on me, and it kind of made me kind of, like, not want to believe. And I was like that for a long time in my childhood, and I was like, you know what, God's not real. He's not real, like, goodness. And so I didn't believe that God was real. Like, yeah, like, got my mom, she pushed me to go to church, like, she's like, no, you can't stay home from church. And I kind of just, for like the longest time, was like, if God was real, then why is he not coming back? Because everyone would keep telling me, oh, God's coming back, and I'm like, well, where is he? Like, you guys have been saying this for years. Like, where is he at? And I've just been, like, kind of on the fence with God for a long time. But when I moved back to my reserve, I actually joined a youth group that ran for a while. And we had, like, these little trips where we'd go to different reserves, and we would do, like, skits and stuff like that. And even then, I still didn't believe God was real. I was like, yeah, I'm doing this, but, like, he's not real. So I just did it for myself. Like, I never really did it to honor God. It was all like, oh, yeah, they're here to watch me, like, not God. And so I did it all for myself, and I think that was one of the many times I was introduced to God. But more recently, I'd say around grade 8, actually, Jen Wilson, she came to Fort Hope. And she's one of the main pieces of why I'm not, like, on the side of the road drinking this morning. Like, because for high school, I had very slim options. It's either I stay in my reserve and do online, or I go to Thunder Bay with a bunch of other students from Fort Hope. And my mom was not fond of me going to Thunder Bay with other students from Fort Hope, because alcoholism and just stuff like that is so normalized in, like, the teen, even, like, I guess everywhere, but it's just more common in Thunder Bay that, oh, we're gonna go party and drink every night. And half of my friends from Fort Hope, that was their plan when they went to high school. And I was actually considering doing that too. I was like, you know what, like, my mom's not gonna be there, like, who's gonna stop me? And Jen came to Fort Hope, and I actually wasn't planning on going to, like, those little group sessions she was hosting, but my mom, you know, she forced me, so I was like, you know, whatever. And so when I went to the little groups, I was, like, trying to be nonchalant. I was like, ugh, I don't want to do this, because she had me, like, playing instruments, and I was like, oh, like, nobody can see me doing this. But anyway, so my mom and Jen, they started I guess they were talking about, like, the topic of high school got brought up. And my mom was like, I do not want Emmalee going to Thunder Bay. And I was not planning on staying in Fort Hope. What do I look like? And so my mom was like, you are not going to Thunder Bay. I'm like, well, where am I gonna go? She was like telling me about, like, Uxbridge. And I was like, what is Uxbridge? And then she was like, oh, it's an hour from Toronto. And when I heard Toronto, I was like, count me in. And so basically, when my mom brought that up, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go there. And so it took us a hot minute to find a place to stay. And when I got here, matter of fact, actually, can we get a round of applause for Jen? Because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here right now. Or God working through her. But and then when I got here, my first boarding home, it wasn't the best. Like, and I'm not gonna sit here and act like I wasn't part of the issue. Like, I'm not gonna be like, oh, it was all of them. Matter of fact, it was probably mostly me. Because when I got here, I was such an angry, bitter person. Like, this is not an over-exaggeration when I say this. I hated everyone. Like, I just had this burning rage for no, I wouldn't say for no reason, but I just had such a hatred for literally anybody. Somebody would look at me the wrong way, oh, I don't like you. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, I had such a hatred and I just didn't like anybody. And yes, I'm bringing up music again, but I don't know if you guys knew me last year, but I always had these headphones on, like, all the time. You would never catch me slipping out my headphones. But the sad part was, the only music I was listening to was, like, it would be about drugs, depression, lust. Like, it was just stuff like that. And just that would just cross my mind at all times of the day, like, oh, like, I don't want to live anymore. Like, goodness gracious, like, life is so hard. And in those moments when I was sad, I would be sitting there crying. And I was listening to sad music, wondering why I was sad. Like, girl, bye. You're out here listening to sad music, wondering why you're sad. But I would, like, sit there and I would cry and cry and cry and cry and wonder, why me? Like, why am I here? Why am I even alive? Or why does nobody like me? Girl, I don't know if you guys seen me last year. I looked so mean. I was like, I don't know. I was like, why does nobody talk to me? Like, why does nobody want to be my friend? And I was sitting there with a mean face. I don't know what I thought. Like, how am I going to make friends if I'm just like, but yeah, and so that happened. And then the first boarding home didn't work. And then on to my second boarding home with Benita Wilkinson. Let's get a round of applause for Benita. I love Benita. But Benita was like one of the main people in my life who showed me the true love of Christ. Like, just through her actions, regardless of how bitter and rude I was to her, she just continued to show me the love that, like, I never had from my mom. Because my mom, she wasn't raised the best because her parents were in residential school for a while. And so that really took a toll on her. And so my mom wasn't really able to show me the love that a mom was supposed to show their daughter. But when Benita came along, she showed me that I'm worthy of love. And no matter how rude and nasty I was to her, that she would still love me. And that moment was like, you know, like, God is real. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, she would bring us to church every morning. Like, I didn't really want to come to church. I was like, you know, I'm only going to go because, like, you know, I have to. Like, I don't really like nobody there. But, yeah, and then Benita would bring me to church. Her and Bill, actually. I don't know if they're here today, but they would bring me. And me and my cousin would be in the back laughing at everyone. Like, oh, my God, like, look at them putting their hands up. That's so dumb. Oh, my gosh. And matter of fact, I have my hand up today. Who would have thought? Okay, guys, I'm getting sidetracked. But point is, like, I actually prayed for, like, times like this back in my reserve. I think it was maybe, like, I'd like to say 2022, 2021, I was praying. Like, I still didn't believe in God, but I would pray, like, you know, maybe, just maybe he'll answer my prayers. And I was like, you know, God, like, I don't like my friend group, because I was caught up in smoking. I was like, you know, I thought it was cool because I smoked. I was like, you know, real gangster, huh? And so I was smoking, I was doing all that, and I just decided to pray because I really, 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 really wanted Christian friends. I was like, you know what, like, God, please, like, put a community around me, maybe, like maybe then, like, you know, I could maybe follow you. And I was actually, on Friday, I was on the stage, and I was like, I realized that God had answered one of my most wanted prayers, and I was like, hello? Because now I have this amazing community of people around me that love and adore God, and it's like, it's crazy to think of, because when I was praying that prayer, I wasn't really, like, in the right mindset. But point is, God moves in crazy ways. Like, I don't know what it is. Because moments I have really highs, like, I have high highs with God, like, I'm on fire for God, and then moments I'm like scraping the ground, and I'm like, I don't want to do this. But one thing I learned when I'm in my lows is that I need to just worship him regardless if I feel worthy or not. Because that's one thing I struggle with is, oh, I'm not worthy enough to worship God right now. Like, I committed this sin, this sin, this sin, and this sin. But then he just keeps reminding me, like, it doesn't matter what sin I commit, he still loves me regardless. And that, that he wants me to pray to him in all honesty, like, because I used to go to God and pray, like, and pretend that I loved him like I should. And I was like, oh, I really love you, God, with my whole heart. That's a lie. I don't know. It's easy to, like, pretend to God, like, oh, yeah, God, I really love you. I really this, that, and the third. But no, he wants you to come be honest with him. Like, I'm honest with him now. Like, God, I don't love you like I should. I do put things above you. And once you confess that, like, then he can come into your heart and work on those areas with you. And that's what I'm learning right now. And yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at right now. Thank you.
You didn't tell me how scary this was. My name is Sophie Finch, and I am part of the youth group here at UBC. I got invited to share our testimony, like Phil said, at the end of the night on Friday, and I didn't know I'd be sharing, and I didn't know he'd text the group chat, anybody want to share on Sunday? So thank the Lord for giving me that push. So I grew up and I was raised in a split Christian home. I have one parent who isn't religious and the other who was Catholic, and that was my mom, and she decided that she wanted to raise us Catholic. My dad and her came up with a compromise that we would also be raised Catholic. So from a very young age, I was baptized, I went to church, and then, I can't remember because I was so young, but we ended up stopped going to church. We moved up north, and COVID happened, and there's no church during COVID. Catholics, I don't know if we have a live stream like you guys do, which is pretty cool, by the way. So we took a break off of that, and that's where I started to I hit puberty, I became a teenager, and I hit so many emotional lows. I felt like I wasn't supported. I felt I don't know what mental state I got into, but it's a place I never want to be again. And I was looking for something to help me. My parents they said, oh, maybe we'll get you a counselor, worldly things to help you. I tried counselor, and it each felt like, yes, I'd start to get to know them and get to know them better and better, and then they'd say, well, our time's done, my contract's up, I gotta go. A contract? What is that? That made me feel even worse by the end of it. I had a loss of faith, and I didn't know what to do. So after COVID, the church opened back up, and we found out that there was a church 15 minutes north of us. It was a Catholic church. And for those of you who don't know, I was around the age of grade 8. And around grade 8, you have something that you have to do called confirmation. You become an elder of the church, you read things, you go through this whole process. I stayed after services. But again, it felt like an obligation to be there, to do things. Yes, I was learning about God, but it wasn't a passion I wanted to know. In my free time, I didn't have a Bible to read. I didn't have anything to do. And so after my confirmation was done, I stopped going to church again. My family stopped. I hit lows again. Emotionally, not as much, but then I went to medical lows. I was in and out of the ER. I had medical issues with my wisdom teeth. I had them out, and everything that could go wrong went wrong. It was not fun. And then around this Christmas, at Christmas, actually, we were opening up presents, and my dad was like, okay, hurry up, next present. I'm like, it's Christmas, don't rush me, I'm opening my presents. And by the time we got to the final present, we were told, all my brothers and me, to open it, but to do it together. So I opened it up, and inside was a road trip packing list and snacks. Then I started crying because my grandpa had passed away in March, and he had moved down to South Carolina and made a new family down there in South Carolina. And since I had school, I was unable to go. All I wanted to do was go see him before he passed away, because I gotten to know him so well, and he had such a big role. So the fact that I was surprised with a trip to go down to South Carolina, not to see him, see his grave, but meet all the family down there, I was overjoyed and so excited to do so. But then something dawned on me. I don't know how I had the thought, but we were told, oh yeah, you have to pack some church clothes. Church clothes? Well, what church does she go to again, my Nana in South Carolina? Well, she goes to a Baptist church. I'm like, oh, that's different. I've never been to a Baptist church. That'll be exciting. It's new. So I pack my clothes. What should I wear? What do you wear to a Baptist church? And that was all the talk. Going down there, we road tripped it, so it took a day in the back of a tiny Tesla with 2 boys on either side. So fun. And I got to South Carolina, and we got there the day after Boxing Day. We left, and we got there we left New Year's. So we went to a church. There was a Sunday in there somewhere, and we went to the church, and I sat through this Baptist service. But as I sat through it, it was like, okay, yeah, it's still church. It's kind of like Catholic, but oh, they have a band on the stage. That's cool. Oh, they sing, and I could feel the passion in the room. And the Pastor Robert, talked about how there's somebody in this room who hasn't accepted the Lord into their hearts and needs to and will, and I can feel it. And just today's the day. Give your life to the Lord. I was like, okay, that was a really good service by the end. I was talking with my family. I met my Nana and her friends at church, another extended family I had there. And then I went up. I said, oh, I got to congratulate the pastor because that was a really good service. So I went up and I went to shake his hand. And when I shook his hand, I felt something I had never felt before. And he explained it to me as the Holy Spirit. I sat there and shook his hand, and I couldn't even tell him that the service was really good because I started crying. And he asked me, he's like, why are you crying? I'm like, I don't know. And so he's like, okay, you know what I want you to do? I want you and your family to come and meet me in my office at the end. I'm like, oh, his office? What did I do? What did I do? I cried. Is that not okay? This is Baptist church. I'm like, okay, so I was sitting in his office waiting for him to finish up talking to people. And he came in and he's like, you have gotten saved. I was like, saved? What's that? I like this feeling, but what's being saved? And he told me, the Lord has called you and you have to accept him now in your heart. And that's exactly what I did. He's like, you know what? You have a Bible. That's where we start. I'm like, I don't have a Bible. He's like, okay, I'll get you one. And he looked around his office, every shelf, everywhere, looking for this Bible. And he had the Bible he used for his service. And he's like, you know what? Can't find a Bible in my office, but I'm going to give you this one. I'm like, okay. So I took my Bible, however many ways, miles away from home. And I'm like, I've been saved. I've got this Bible. What do I do? And from there, my Nana told me about how the church had a live stream service that I could watch from home or from wherever. I'm like, okay, that's cool. My parents aren't Baptists at all. So it's like, well, my mom won't really get me to come to church. So I got to find my way. And so that's how I found my way. I started watching on YouTube. I started watching their services every week. And from there, I just learned, okay, got to find way, go on my Bible, look for something to help me. And then I was on my way. I got my bracelet from them. It says, God is greater than our highs and lows. I got that from my Nana. I scan it every day. It gives me a Bible verse. And I had a class that semester with you will know this man, Mr. Daly, or Timothy. And I was showing him my bracelet. I'm like, God's greater than our highs and lows. He's like, oh, that's cool. You got that? I'm like, yeah, I got it in South Carolina. And I think I don't think I want to be Catholic anymore. I think I want to be Baptist. I have this new passion for the Lord in my heart, and I just don't know what to do with it. He's like, okay, well, where do you live exactly? Do you know, have you heard of a youth group? I'm like, youth group? What is that? I've never heard of one of those. He's like, well, teens come and we help and we celebrate the Lord with each other. I'm like, okay. So the next day, his daughter, Priscilla, helped me, and she's like, so I go to this youth group at Uxbridge Baptist Church. It's every Friday. I'm like, okay, that's cool. And she's like, I'm inviting you. I'm like, oh, okay. So she gave me a piece of paper with the invitation, and I went to the youth group, and I have been so thankful that I've met that, because I have found people who support me in my journey and who care for me, and it's a group of people where we're all alike. It was the first time I sat, and we have our separate time with girls, and boys are downstairs, and I sat in the room of girls. I'm like, these people are all like me. I never felt that before. I'm like, this is incredible. So now my choice and my plan is to try and find my right walk with the Lord. He has pushed me to do stuff like tonight, leadership, and to tell my story and how I was saved all the way in South Carolina, and how the Lord works in crazy, mysterious ways. And each day, like a week ago, I would never have thought I'd be doing this. And each week it's something new. I didn't know I'd be applying for a ministry team in youth group, and I've done that. And it's crazy to think what he has done in my life. So now I'm trying to find my way with him and where I need to be. And I thank the Lord just for saving me. And one thing that I do when I'm trying to grow my relationship with him, and I'm not sure if I'm able to do it, one verse that I find helps me is Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And I say that verse to myself all the time to help give me courage and to ask my parents to do things like this and to be stronger in life. And I'm getting lost in my thoughts and too much to say. But anyway, I'm trying to find my happy medium on my proper walk. Not because some days I'm going at a run towards the Lord, and other days it's slower, and having not the support sometimes that I need from my parents. But some days they do, but other days it's like, okay, I need to find my way. Whether that be reading my Bible, going to services, going to youth group, just something to help me find where I need to be. Maybe not reading an hour of my Bible every day, but not necessarily reading a couple minutes and being like, okay, I'm done. But just finding consistency, because I find that helps give me peace. And I'm so thankful for what he's done in my life and all the progress that I've made. So thank you.